Before anything happened, everyone in our village knew who Omalika was. Not just because of her name, which meant the beautiful one, but because she lived up to it in every way. Even the sun seemed to sit differently on her skin. Her eyes were round and kind. Her hair thick like cotton wool, always in simple plaits. She didn't wear makeup or show off. She didn't have to. She was 17, the first daughter of my aunt, my mother's younger sister. That made us cousins, but we grew up like sisters. We bathed together, fetched water together, and ate from the same bowl. But as we got older, things changed. When we entered our teenage years, people stopped calling her Omalika the sweet girl and started calling her Omalika the one who will bring trouble. It was always said as a joke. But I could feel the shift. It started with small things. Mothers in the village would tell their sons, "Don't walk too close to that girl." Some would even call her a distraction, though she never wore anything inappropriate. Some older women would whisper when she passed, saying she was using something on her skin. "She can't be this fresh with only palm kernel oil," I heard one woman say once. At first, Omalika used to smile at them. She would greet with her soft voice and keep walking. But the more they talked, the quieter she became. It wasn't just women. The men in the village were worse. Married ones. Old ones. Market traders. Some would send her gifts without asking. Others would call her names when she didn't smile back. One man even offered to pay for her to go to nursing school, but his wife heard about it and came to warn my aunt. "Your daughter will not scatter my marriage," the woman said. But Omalika had done nothing. That was the painful part. She just existed, in the wrong place, with a face people couldn't look away from. Then came the first rumor. One evening, as we returned from the stream, a boy from our street stopped me and said, "Your sister is sleeping with the pastor's son." I slapped him immediately. Not because I believed the boy, but because I knew what that kind of lie could become in our village. I ran home that day, heart beating fast. Omalika was inside, folding clothes. I told her what the boy said. She didn't even look up. She just said, "It doesn't matter what I do. They've already decided who I am." That night, I sat beside her while she cried silently. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to protect her, but I couldn't fight the whole village. I thought it would end there. I was wrong. After the first rumor about Omalika and the pastor's son, more started flying. It was like someone opened a tap, and the whole village was drinking from it. One woman said she saw Omalika touching her breast while looking at her reflection in the river, as if that was a sign of witchcraft. Another said her own husband had been calling Omalika's name in his sleep. Imagine that, and somehow, it was Omalika's fault. I started noticing how people looked at us differently when we walked to the stream. Their eyes followed her, full of suspicion, not admiration. The women who used to greet us before started facing another direction. Some stopped answering her greetings. One day, a woman we used to help sweep her compound hissed and said, "I don't want bad luck near my house." Omalika didn't argue. She just kept quiet, but I could feel her changing. She stopped walking with me to the stream. She said she'd go early before the sun came out, or very late when no one was around. I begged her not to isolate herself, but she said, "You don't know what it feels like to be hated for something you didn't ask for." Even at the market, people were talking. "She walks like she owns the ground. Why does she always smile small like that?" That's how they charm men. I heard she was born with a mirror under her tongue. Lies. All lies. But once people decide to hate you, even your silence becomes a reason to fear you. Then the worst lie came. One Saturday, a woman's son went missing. A small boy, about 5 years old. The whole village scattered. Everyone was looking for him. They found the boy the next morning. He had just wandered off and fallen asleep inside an abandoned yam barn. But instead of moving on, one old woman, the same one who had always warned people about Omalika, stood in the square and said, "I saw her near the shrine yesterday evening." Just like that, a new story began. Omalika tried to sacrifice the child but failed. I was there when she said it. I shouted, "That's a lie. She was at home with us." But nobody listened. People don't care about the truth when they enjoy the drama of a lie. That evening, Mama Ejid, the market chief, called a meeting with other older women. They said Omalika needed a cleansing. That her kind of beauty was not natural. That she was a bad spirit in a girl's body. I told my aunt. She was shaking as she listened. She said, "Let's go and beg them." But Omalika refused. "I've done nothing wrong," she said. "Why should I kneel for people who lie?" That answer made everything worse. In our village, pride is not when you raise your voice. It's when you dare to stand tall in the face of nonsense. And they were ready to crush her for it. It happened in the morning, just before sunrise. I was still inside, sweeping the front of our compound when I heard footsteps, plenty of them. Then voices. At first, I thought someone had died, or that the missing boy had gone missing again. But the noise kept getting louder, and I noticed the voices were mostly women. I dropped the broom and peeped through the gate. What I saw made my heart jump. A group of women, at least 10 of them, were marching toward our house. Most of them were wrapped in faded ankara wrappers tight around their chest. A few had leaves tied to their wrists and ankles, like they were going to the shrine. One of them was carrying a calabash. Another held a new razor blade. Leading them was Mama Ejid. She wasn't shouting, just walking like someone with a mission. Her face was dry and stiff like firewood. The rest of the women were chanting small, saying things like "evil spirit must leave," and "a woman who brings shame must be humbled." I ran into the house, screaming for my aunt. "Auntie! They're coming!" She rushed out of the kitchen, still tying her headscarf. "Who? What happened?" Before I could answer, they were already at the door. They didn't knock. They pushed the door open and walked inside like they owned the house. Omalika was sitting in the corner of the parlor, folding her clothes into a basin. She looked up, confused. "What's going on?" she asked. Nobody answered her. 2 women grabbed her by the arm. My aunt tried to stop them, but they shoved her aside. One woman shouted, "If you fight us, it means you support witchcraft." They dragged Omalika outside. She didn't scream. She didn't even struggle much. I think she was too shocked to move. They pushed her to the ground, right in front of the mango tree in our compound. They made a circle around her. My aunt kept begging them, saying, "Please, please, she's just a girl. Your mother's too." But they ignored her. Then Mama Ejid stepped forward with the razor blade in her hand. She said, "This hair is the source of your pride. Your beauty is destroying homes. Let the spirits reject it." And with that, she knelt down and began cutting Omalika's hair, not gently, not like a barber would. She scraped it roughly, pulling, cutting, slashing. The others joined her, taking turns. Omalika was crying silently, hands tied. She didn't scream. But tears ran down her face like rain on glass. When they were done, she looked like a different person. Her head was patchy and red, with small cuts all over. She looked up at me for a second, not with anger, but like someone asking, "Why didn't you stop them?" I'll never forget that look. Then Mama Ejid poured something from the calabash on her head and said, "Go and start over." And just like that, they walked away. After they shaved her head, Omalika didn't speak to anyone for 2 whole days. Not even to me. She just sat on a small stool under the mango tree, staring into space. Her scalp was full of small wounds. I tried to clean them with warm water and cotton wool, but she didn't flinch, didn't blink. She just let me touch her like she wasn't there. Our compound was quiet. Even the birds didn't sing like they used to. My aunt, her mother, was inside, crying from morning till night. She didn't eat. She didn't go to the market. I think she blamed herself. People in the village went on like nothing had happened. That's what hurt the most. They still cooked, sold food, and gossiped about new things. Nobody talked about the day they humiliated Omalika. But I knew they were watching. They were waiting to see what she would do next. Would she run away? Would she go mad? Would she fight back? Omalika did none of those things. She just stopped being herself. I tried to make her laugh, reminded her of funny things from school, but she just looked at me with tired eyes. Her beauty hadn't left her. Even bored and bruised, she still looked like someone God carved carefully. Maybe that's what they couldn't stand. One evening, I saw two boys passing our gate. They paused and pointed at her. One of them said, "Which with fine face? Them don humble arm." And they laughed. I wanted to chase them, stone them, but Omalika didn't even react. She just kept sitting, looking at the sky. Later that night, I sat beside her again. I asked, "What are you thinking about?" She said nothing for a long time. Then finally, she whispered, "I want to leave this place." "Where will you go?" I asked. "I don't know. But not here." Her voice was soft, but firm. It didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a prayer. She looked at me. "You know, all I ever did was try to be quiet. Try not to offend. I even prayed that God would make me less pretty so they would leave me alone." I stared at her. She added, "Now I know, some people hate you just for existing." The next morning, she wasn't outside. I looked everywhere, by the mango tree, the kitchen, the well. She was gone. Her mother ran up and down screaming. People came and said maybe she had gone to the bush, or to drown herself. Some even said she had disappeared like the evil spirit they claimed she was. But I knew better. She had left. And deep in my heart, I was glad. Because sometimes, the only way to survive in a place that wants to break you, is to walk away before they succeed. After Omalika left, the compound felt hollow. Her mother, my aunt, spent weeks searching. She went from one family to another, even traveled to the next village. But Omalika had vanished, just like dust in the wind. No letter. No message. Just silence. People said maybe she went to the city. Some said she was hiding in shame. A few even said, "Let her go. We've had peace since she left." Those words cut deep, but I said nothing. What would I say? That she was the only one who was ever kind to me. That I still saw her face every time I passed the mango tree. That her absence made the sun feel dull. Nobody cared. What shocked me most was how quickly people forgot her. 1 week after she left, Mama Ijid was already back in the market, laughing and selling onions like nothing happened. The other women who cut her hair started attending weddings and baby dedications. The same mouths that cursed her now used the energy to gossip about something new. But I didn't forget. I saw her old slippers behind the door. I saw the scarf she always wore on her head when cooking. I saw the wrapper she left hanging on the line. Her things stayed where she left them, as if they were waiting for her to return. One evening, my aunt sat beside me and said, "Maybe she's better off far away from this place." I nodded. She was right. A few months later, a woman from another village came to our market. She said she had seen a girl like Omalika working in a hair salon in Owerri. Quiet girl. No name. Just working and minding her business. When we told my aunt, her eyes lit up for the first time in weeks. "She's alive," she said. We never confirmed if it was really her. But somehow, that news gave us peace. We stopped searching. We started healing. But I still carry the memory. Every time I hear people say, beauty is a blessing, I remember Omalika and wonder, was it really? Because in our village, her beauty was treated like a weapon. Something to fear. Something to destroy. Something that threatened people simply because it existed without asking for permission. It wasn't men who punished her. It was women who saw her as competition, even though she never competed. It made me understand something nobody ever said out loud. Sometimes, the people who should protect you are the ones who harm you most when they feel threatened by what you represent. Now, when I see young girls being called proud or dangerous just because they're confident or pretty, I remember Omalika and I keep my mouth open, not shut. Because silence is what let them ruin her. And I refuse to be silent again. It's been 4 years now since Omalika left the village. Some of the girls who used to laugh behind her back now post Bible quotes about self-love on Facebook. The women who dragged her out and shaved her head. They've become church mothers and attend conferences about raising God-fearing daughters. Mama Ejid even got honored at the Women's Day celebration last year. They said she protected the community from shame. But none of them ever spoke her name again. They erased her like she was never here. As if she didn't grow up among us. As if her laughter never echoed through our compound. As if we didn't all turn our heads when she passed, even the ones pretending to hate her. I've never stopped thinking about her. Sometimes I wonder if she's really in the city. I imagine her working in a small salon, maybe smiling at a customer who has no idea what she's survived. Maybe she's using a different name now, trying to build a life from the broken pieces they left her with. Other times, I worry. What if the wounds never healed? What if she still wakes up shaking from the memory of hands forcing her down? What if the silence they placed on her voice still weighs her down? I still walk past the mango tree where they shaved her head. The leaves still fall there. Nothing's changed. The village looks the same. The people too. But I've changed. Because I watched what they did. I stood there. I didn't pull her away. I didn't scream loud enough. I thought being young made me powerless, but now I know silence makes you part of the punishment. I've started writing. That's how I keep her alive. That's how I remember. Sometimes, younger girls come to me and ask, is it true what they say about Omalika? I tell them, no. What they said was a lie. What they did was worse. And I always tell them the truth, beauty is not a crime. But in places filled with envy and fear, even goodness can be treated like a curse. I hope Omalika is somewhere safe. I hope her hair has grown back. I hope she looks in the mirror now and smiles, not just with her face, but with her heart. Because the girl they tried to destroy wasn't weak. She was powerful. And power, in a girl, scares people who've spent their lives being small. The village never apologized. They never will. But I'm writing this for her, and for every girl like her. Girls who carry light in a place that loves darkness. If you ever meet someone who seems too beautiful for where she is, be kind to her. She's not your threat. She might just be surviving something you will never understand.